Well, well, well. Someone thought it'd be a good idea to judge Thomas fan content for the masses. Um, Basically, if you don't know, there's this creator called Play Don't Pause Writer's Pen. Really catchy name you've got there. Um, has decided to make a sort of Oscars for the Thomas and Friends community. Now, when I first saw this announced, I thought this was going to be pretty cool. Um, and then it came out. When did it come out? Came out on the 1st of January 2023. It was a real way to kick off 2023. Certainly. Um, it was certainly something. So Play Don't Pause Writer's Pen has said that he does not want to go to check on Twitter. Um, so basically, Tank Engine Reviews commented 15 hours ago. I hope he does not look on Twitter. Laughing, crying emoji. Oh, I did. Don't know what to think there. I was gonna let it run its course. Can't please everyone. So, I'm just making this video because, if he doesn't want to come to the fight, I'll bring the fight to him on YouTube, where his home is. Um, it was basically the entire show is not just, praising Thomas fan creators and what they can do with their chosen art form. He instead just decides to just go, fuck you, Thomas fans. Some of your content sucks ass, basically, and it's horrific. Honestly, no one on Twitter agrees with him. I can pull up a few conversations that I've had on Twitter. Um, no one likes this. Not a lot of people like this. I can only name one person who did, and he basically said I won an award, which was I didn't. Um, Let me just sum this up really quickly in the tweet that I made. Twitter need dislike button. For real though, this was some of the most biased and rude shit I've ever seen, and was possibly the worst way to start 2023. I would seriously recommend getting a group of people to view the art objectively, rather than one person viewing it subjectively and Dick Doherty and talentless Australian the whole time. In all fairness, this may need some context. So gladly, my good friend, Thomas Theorist, has compiled some clips together for me. And if you want, we could just watch the whole thing. It'll be funny. So first of all, we have, this, absolutely amazing take here, which I love.
And in some ways actually eclipses the lore of the Railway series.
So, for context, he decided to make a category for best series. The series did not have to be uploaded in 2022, but the creator's work had to have been updated at some point in 2022, and then they can judge the whole series. Apparently, and for this category, he decided to nominate Victor Tanzig. Now, I don't know whether you know about some of the stuff that Victor Tanzig has done, but it's certainly something. Like this one, for example, the famous Killed Off Characters Club cover here. Dislikes in this one, he says Percy dislikes consent. It's just a mess, really. He started being a bit more racy with his humor, to say the least. This series here, from here all the way to here, I hated that. Please never make it serialized again. That one was certainly something. All of these were horrific. This is all horrifically shit. Um, so he's done all that, and then he wins. You know, it's just kind of insulting to some of the smaller creators like myself, who actually put time and effort into doing all the police lighting for Season 3, Episode 1, and then they just don't get fucking anything because this guy loves Australians. So we'll watch this clip, and you'll see why people got frustrated at this.
And in some ways actually eclipses the lore of the Railway series in my opinion. That's not to say that the Railway series isn't great, or a love letter to steam engines, but all of the really interesting lore isn't incorporated into the books in any meaningful way.
So what you just said there, is Victor Tanzig's headcanon is better than the lore of the Railway series, which has been methodically thought out over years and years, and perhaps even decades, to get to that point in 2011 where Christopher Audrey finished it. And it's just like, come on, man, it's just ridiculous. He says all this. Oh, I gotta keep on watching because some of what he says next is hilarious.
Instead, it's laid out in anthology material and structured more like a textbook than an actual story. In fact, other than the neat novelty of knowing what the island was like way back when, I'd almost call this book pointless to the overall plot of the series.
Pointless to the overall plot? Have you realised that you are speaking to a bunch of Thomas the Tank Engine fans? You've genuinely just gone, thank you, Wilbur Audrey, because he's thought of this whole entire world, this whole expansive island and its history and everything, and you just go, it's not in a story. When's the story about the fucking cultists and the Standing Stones? Because it's a kid's book, okay? We don't need a book about a cultist, okay? So he's just giving a big fuck you to Wilbur Audrey here, honestly. It's ridiculous.
Seriously, when have details like Kirk Ronan's electrical plant or the existence of the railroad ever been important in any of the books? Sure, they're cool little ideas.
Now, you may not know that the railroad was actually the basis for the Skarloey Railway, and the electrical branch for the Mid-Sodor is literally mentioned in the book, not by name, but implicitly mentioned as getting rid of the Mid-Sodor Railway. So yes, they are very important for the books.
And they fill in gaps in the island's history. But if you took them out, it wouldn't really change all that much.
Wouldn't change all that much. If I... The electrical Peel Godred branch is very important. It's incredibly important. It is the reason that the Mid-Sodor starts losing supplies, the reason that the mines close, the reason that it can't function as a railway anymore, and the reason that Duke gets abandoned there and then found in like 1970. How is that not important to the story?
Compare that with the stories of Sodor.
So that's his whole point. His point is that Victor Tanzig's headcanon, of which he has not read a single Railway series book to produce, is better than Christopher and Wilbur Audrey's methodically thought out Railway series. And then there's this, which I find hilarious.
It's warm, comfortable, and full of life in a way nowhere else in the world can be. It's home.
I think the font choice could be a little better.
His only complaint with this whole video is that the font choice could have been better. Oh, the font choice. Oh, it's a break for me. You know, The Godfather could have won Best Picture if they had chosen a different font for the title. Honestly, should have gone with Comic Sans. But you know, at least this guy won. they won, right? Now you may be asking yourself, what do they win? Is there a physical award? Well, basically, he emails you, an email saying, "Oh, congratulations, you won." And then he sends you basically, to put it in better words, it's an NFT. He sends you this PNG, and you can put it on the video that won, or you can just put it on the video. You can just put it on your channel or whatever. And you can just do that. Apparently, it's basically just an NFT. It's so fucking dumb. So anyway, we got this one, which is hilarious. Where basically, a lot of the video is just spent taking the piss out of other people's work, and not in like even a constructive way. He says, "This is shit." Doesn't even suggest a way to fix it. He just goes, "This is shit." Let me play this clip for you.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I wasn't that impressed with what I was looking at. I didn't think his points landed all that well. The video was presented in a box, yet still has bars on it for some reason. And worst of all, what he says doesn't match what's on screen. In fact, it felt more like he was just throwing in clips wherever to fill space, which is fine for lesser moments, but the whole video felt like that. Needless to say, as an essay, it wasn't very engaging for me.
But, if I remember correctly, this category is not on how the video is made. It's about the essay and the points. Admittedly, you do mention that the points don't land, but this has nothing to do with how it's edited or anything like that. It's about the essay. It's not it's not about the visuals, it's about the essay. It's not even called best video essay. If it was best video essay, then I'd get it. But the category is best essay. Literally, like Adam points out here, it's an essay award. Listen to this, right?
Seeing the book illustrations and clips from the show. It certainly makes this video feel unique. Unfortunately, the other big reason this video stands out visually is the bright orange background that permeates throughout the entire video. I get that orange is a big part of this channel's branding, but it can be super hard to look at for an extended amount of time. And the last thing you need is for viewers to get tired of looking at your video. If it was just, like, slightly less saturated and bright, with maybe a small bit of texture or detail in the background, it would have made this video so much easier to look at. That being said, I do recognize that a bright background isn't a massive deal breaker for some, and you know what? Fair enough. It's a fairly small issue in the grand scheme of things.
Now, I want to ask you a question. What does it have to do with the actual essay? I was under the impression that this was grading the essays like an English teacher, not just saying your background's too bright, or, his next point,
a much bigger problem with this video comes with its audio. Like I said before, I have no problem with Scrapyard Studios' commentary other than it being a bit shouty. However, it's the commentary of his guest speakers that really hurts this video for me. When you use sound bites in your videos, it should, at the very least, do two things. A, help convey your point easier, and B, keep your viewer engaged without breaking the flow of the video. And if I'm being honest, these clips fail to do both of these things, at least for me. For starters, they're way too quiet. The mic gets passed to another creator 3 separate times in this video, and all 3 times are just barely intelligible.
Now, he says this is barely intelligible. Now, what he decides to do is play his really obnoxious music throughout this entire clip.
Here, have a listen.
Really, steam engines in Thomas are really steam engines before they're people. You know, like they may talk, they may have faces, but the things that the engines say and do are really means to an end.
When you think of a
I could hear that perfectly fine. I don't know what your problem was, but I think you were purposefully trying to make it less audible by including your really shitty, obnoxious music. That's just a thought. Maybe because you perhaps didn't want this category to win, and you're biased. I don't know, maybe that's something you might want to talk about.
A steam engine in real life, you don't typically picture them with a face. Typically, you picture them with a smoke box door.
Do the engines on Sodor really have faces? And who, other than the reader, can see them?
See what I mean? Scrapyard Studios.
But, oh! What a coincidence! On Scrapyard Studios audio clip, then you get rid of the music. Don't you think that's a bit weird? That he cuts out his really shitty, obnoxious music for Scrapyard Studios' audio, but then not for Master of the Lemons and TLS's? That's a, bit strange.
Studio's voice is way louder than his guests. Oh, well just turn up the volume, you're probably saying. And sure, if I wanted to, I could pause the video, crank my audio up, and hear what they have to say, but...
As much as I love Sam's videos, I think this theory scratches more heads than Joker's.
This is, such a petty complaint. You know, this clip is so stupid, this next one. No, but it's such a petty complaint. I do hope you realize there's such a thing as a, turn down the volume button. That exists, you know. And I can do it while I'm watching a video. Let's watch this one, where he nominated Lamp as, Best Original Story, saying it had a lot of mystery in it. First of all, not true. Let's watch what he says about these next two creators who he compares them to.
It was one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen done in the realm of Thomas. Often creators that try to tell a complex story fall into one of two categories. Either they make the lore way too complex and vague, leaving the viewer wondering what the point of any given scene is, or they spoon-feed each and every bit of the mystery to us so you can't possibly get lost.
So they use those two examples and say that, oh, this is shit. All these both these writing styles are shit. But wait.
Both of these suck for vastly different reasons. But
both the writing, not the stories. No, because these stories have used the writing techniques. So what he's done here is he's tried to, he realizes he's written himself into a corner, and he doesn't want to come off as too much of an asshole, but in the process comes off as more of an asshole. This one was something else. I do hope you're aware of some of the things that Speedy Skip has done against women. He's not a very good man, to say the least. I won't get into it here, mainly because I can't remember most of it. But he said, I'm fully aware, he said some very bad things about Gabriella. I've forgotten her name. Good, because she said some bad things, blocked me, then left. Anyway, so there's stuff about Speedy Skip and him and Gabriella, and he said some bad things about her, and then he left, and then she left. The next thing you know, strangest thing, their Discord profile pictures. They appear to have changed. Now they're dating. So there's that. Then this guy says this about Speedy Skip for best adaptation.
The CGI adaptation of Duck Takes Charge by Skips is just incredible. But while all those were great, there was one adaptation that stood apart from the rest.
So and also he nominated. He also made the Henry movie win most ambitious, I believe. And it's not the worst thing in the video, you know. But the biggest fuck up of them all, that really just takes the fucking cake, is this.
This one was way simpler to quantify, as unlike stories, good editing is pretty objective when you know what you're looking at. However, while there was a very clear frontrunner, the honorable mentions were by no means left in the dust. However, none of those quite measured up to the sheer amount of technical aptitude that this next entry had. The winner of Best Editor for 2022 is Percy and the Beast Productions.
This is why this thing is a fucking sham, right? I'm sorry for the language, but it just is, right? If you don't know, Percy the Beast Productions, he makes a lot of Sodor Fallout based videos, as you can probably tell. But what you may not know is that he's a thief. He has used multiple clips from not just other Sodor Fallout YouTube videos, but mine specifically. And I know for a fact they're mine. So this one, for instance, when Trevor gets shot in Sodor Fallout, I want you to look at this shot. Look at it very carefully. Look at that little face on Trevor on the rusty little traction engine. Look at the rifle in his hand. And look at that. Almost the exact same thing. The rifle's a bit different, in all fairness, right? But if you watch his clip, and then you watch mine, they are the exact same thing, beat for beat.
Call from Gem Cole on my two-way radio.
I'd like to also apologize for the horrific sound design, mainly the Ringo Starr narration, those Trevor noises. So our first shot is that establishing shot of Trevor and Gem Cole in the car. Then we cut to a close-up of Gem Cole, where it has been edited, so he's frowning. It then cuts back to Trevor, with this really shittily cut-out version of his face stuck on this traction engine, this rusting traction engine.
Edward broke down in tears when I told him the news.
So then we cut back to Gem Cole. He closes his eyes, still frowning, pulls up the rifle to about camera level, and then takes the shot. The hit impact is off screen. And then that blood hits the floor. Now if you watch my video, released on February 18th, compared to his June 26th, you'll see this.
Look, that's July 4th.
So then we have our opening shot, and our close-up of Gem Cole, with its frown the wrong way up. The exact same shoddily cut-out face put on Trevor.
Power station.
I can actually prove that. Look at that. That little fuck up there is exactly there.
Lower Brendan suffered a wide.
So then we have a close-up of Gem Cole. His eyes closed. Admittedly, mine's a bit more shit, but
spread system failure.
it has the exact same beats. The rifle comes up.
Of 4.
And would you look at that blood splatter? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Look at that! And I know it's mine, because watch carefully. Little specks of blood still land on the floor. Tiny specks of blood lands on the floor.
4 reactors only
Because
online.
I fucked up the editing and didn't make it loop perfectly. That's how I know this is mine. That's how I know he's a fucking thief. Now, I don't ask for much, right? I don't want your stupid fucking lady NFT, right? But what I do want from you, from Mr. Beast Productions, right? Please just credit me. I just want my work to be represented for what it is, as my work. Not only that, he uses also multiple clips of mine in the intro, and unlike the other ones we put the stupid effect over them, I can actually overlay these ones. I'll bless me, demonstrate these to you. So there's this shot of James. This shot of James right there. Look at that money shot. That's the money shot, right?
Staff attempting to remedy the problem.
Now compare that to that. Don't think you can get away from me, you cheeky sod. That's the exact same frame. Look at that. There's more, don't worry. This one specifically comes out as
The radiation
rather
vent.
obvious. Literally one after the other. You jammy bastard. Right. Look at that, right? What I did was I got this picture of Haunted Henry, I got this Bachmann truck, put it on top of there, put it on top of there, and look at that, it shittily overlays the truck. And then you watch Gordon go by with his little face on, right, look at that. And wow, would you look at that? Same shitty cutting out, look at that. Bam, 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 bam. So now, I do not want a redaction, because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. But the fact that this guy wins Best Editing, after stealing people's clips to establish himself in the Thomas community, you know, that's a bit of a piss take. You may or may not know, he did not, there's the bit on Best Artist, let me just...
away like this person did.
Here we go. Okay. I would like to point out that no one here consented to their drawings being put in this video. And I'm not just saying that because someone's just said that. I'm saying that because the guy who made it has admitted he did not ask anyone if he could use their stuff in his video. He didn't ask permission. Ask permission from the people to put their art in the video. And it's not just talking about the physical artworks like that by my good friend the Midland guy, right? It's also from people like videos. They're an art form. Film is an art form. Essays are an art form in some weird way. Music is an art form. Yet no one has consented to having their video put in this, right?
So, my name's Dr. Nigel Eastman, and I am the filmmaker's father. Quick piece of background, 20 years experience in medical publishing. I've also a published artist in my own right. I also run a website that includes the publication of original photography. I know the laws on copyright, and they are as follows. If you create original art, be it original video, original pictures, original words, those are subject to copyright law. Copyright does not need to be applied for, and copyright does not need to be stated. It is automatic. If you can prove that you are the owner and originator of a piece, then you are, under law, able to prosecute somebody who uses it for commercial gain, in particular, without permission. In the modern age of the internet, things get reused all over the place, and there is kind of an unwritten code among creators where if you want to use somebody's stuff for your own project, you ask permission. Permission will normally be granted because most people are quite chuffed to be asked for permission. So if I want to use a photograph that's been shot by a professional photographer on my food website that I run, I will contact the photographer and ask them if it's okay. And I have never been turned down, and I have never been charged. However, I have had my own artwork used and sold on t-shirts and mugs and things like that without my permission, and it is incredibly irritating, and to be honest, it's actually illegal. Now, pursuing that sort of thing through the courts would get you nowhere. It would be too expensive, but it doesn't detract from the fact that it's illegal, it's disrespectful, and content creators ought to acknowledge the source of where they're taking things from, at least, and ideally also ask permission with the offer to pay if a fee is payable, and that's the law.
So obviously I'm not going to be taking this to court because it's a stupid Thomas video, but all I ask for is from Percy and the Beast Productions. I just ask that you credit me, and with Play Don't Pause, just ask permission, please. Just ask permission, because as Dr. Eastman said, it is in fact against the fucking law. Demon Nowhere, they are rather upset with this as well, because they have videos of them in this from when they were a kid, which is a bit sus. Not gonna lie, it's just a tad sus.
Well, let's think about it like this.
Okay,
take a look.
Right, this is Demon of Nowhere.
At the first batch of videos they ever made, then take a look at the most recent additions to their channel, and ask yourself, if they had access to the same tools they do now, could they have made something like this back when they were first starting out? Using this as... Now,
don't you think, right, that's a bit sus. And, Demon of Nowhere actually agrees with me. She commented this on the video. Not sure how I feel about the part where you show videos of mine from when I was 8 to 10 years old without my permission. In fact, I believe many people featured here feel something about this being entered as a competition. Basically, right, Walt Disney once said that we don't make movies to make money, we make money so we can make more movies. Now, that is a bit stupid in this scenario, and also it's pretty easy to say when you have all the money in the fucking world, but it does somewhat apply. We don't make Thomas fan content to be judged and roasted the shit out of by some Canadian who sits at his computer all day, who decided to make an hour-and-a-half long video of Thomas the Tank Engine creators. We make Thomas fan content for the fun of it. We want to express our love for a little 80s TV show and a book that was made like almost 80 years ago now. We just want to express our love for something that we appreciate, and categorizing us into different ranks and seeing who's the best. It's not why we do what we do. We do it for the love of a funny blue train with a face, you know. Fuck, that got deep. Before we go, I'd just like to point out something. Take the piss out of him however much you want. You know, if he can't, you know, just make sure he can get what he can give. You know what I'm saying?
A great recomposition and a great vocal performance. And that talented creator is Headmaster Hastings.
Hastings.
Hastings. Hastings.
I leave the jury with this verdict.